again, Adam Rayner with Chris Bennett at Celsius Ice HQ, who are the home of JL Audio in the UK. We've been looking at a couple of other things today, but right now we're checking out, well, the slim line woofers. There's long been a need to make loudspeakers skinnier and fit into smaller spaces. And see Chris grinning away happily because you've got a heck of a thing here. This is TW3. Tell us about TW3, because I've got a part of a one here with no magnet on in 10-inch, and I've got a whole one here in 12-inch. And this is a 12-inch subwoofer. Tell us about this thing, Chris.
I'd love to, Adam. Firstly, to start, you mentioned the word slim and skinny.
With me.
I've actually banned everybody from saying that about these products because, unfortunately, if you mention the word slim, thin and skinny, people think that that's going to be a compromise.
That's a description of the base.
So we've come up with a new one that these are compact, rugged drivers that will deliver incredible bass performance. And I really do truly mean that, and I'm going to share with you why. The product that Adam has there in his hand is actually the front part or the top of a 10 TW3. In another video where we spoke about the legendary W6 driver, when the 10W6 first came out, became a reference, but one of the big things about the W6 20 years ago was how much air it moved, you know, the excursion of the driver. Well, the shocker for you, Adam, is that the 10 TW3 has more excursion than the original W6 V1.
That's
So, it's not slim and it's not skinny.
But, yes, fat boy, you ain't allowed to use those terms, nobody else is, let alone you. So this is not slim, it's not skinny, it's compact, it's rugged, and I've been waving this thing at the camera, and the perceptible notice that this is a coil of wire on a front assembly and isn't the way that was came about. So this is to show the actual construction of how this thing works. Tell us about this thing, this sort of plastic cathedral where this stumpy coil is in.
Certainly, Adam. Well, one of the main key elements in the design of the product is the concentric tube design.
Yes.
What that meant is that you didn't have to have a compromise in excursion by making a thinner or slimmer woofer.
Right.
The tube design basically means that you can use all the excursion available, and the way what we've done with the design is the separation between the surround and the spider is still there, what you need to give you that excursion. And Adam, the one thing you did when you first picked this up is start to move the driver.
Yes, so
if you could show our viewers what you did, this thing really does want to go. And most other slimline woofers, when I've got hold of them, it is a bit of a compromise. They just don't want to move. They're really stiff and they're difficult to get going. And although they might show that they can have an excursion close to what this one is, in reality they'll never get there. It's a bit like if you were sitting at the lights in a big Chevy and you're trying to pull away, you've got loads of power and you're trying to pull away with a handbrake on. It's just going to light the tyres up, and the more power you put in, eventually something's going to break. Because this thing wants to go. You mentioned like an R8, this will be like an R8 off the line.
Wow.
This really does want to move plenty of air. They sound incredible. I mean, the design of this product, the way it works with the magnet, the DMA motor structure and everything that we've done with the design of the product has stunned us in the industry. Some of my long-serving JL Audio retailers have been totally shocked with the performance of it. I told them about how good it was because I heard it a year ago at JL Audio's factory, but hearing really is believing, and now they've started to use these things. They've now truly understood that the new TW3 line, having a thinner or slimmer woofer, or as I like to put it, a more compact design, doesn't compromise the output or the sound quality of the bass. The other great thing about the designs of them is that they also work in very compact enclosures. The 12 TW3, which is the latest edition, it's just hot into Celsius recently in the last few weeks. This only works in 0.8 of a cubic foot. That is tiny. And I do stress that is not will only just work in 0.8, that's the optimum enclosure.
Really?
If you really needed to go smaller, the sun will still come up even if you had to go down to 0.5. I mean, I wouldn't recommend it, but if you needed to, you'd still be surprised at how great this will sound in a tiny enclosure like that. The 10 is actually half a cubic foot. And again, the sun will probably still come up at around about 0.3. So you will find places now where you can put drivers in cars that you've never thought of. You don't have to compromise space in the boot. You can do a really compact design. Our new demo car is going to feature an array of these products.
Yes,
I don't want to give away the secret just yet. But being the word TW3, there might be a clue there as to how many we might use. And we're going to basically come up with a demo car where we will have no loss of boot space whatsoever, running off one of our brand new compact XD amplifiers as well.
So it's going to look sexy. Meanwhile, of course, with the W6, we had a look at an enclosure, and in British television fashion, like a show called Blue Peter. Here's one we prepared earlier.
We did.
Reaching out of shot. Just always picking it up with one hand though. There we go. Is this skinny little item? Sorry, I call it skinny. Is this compact enclosure?
Here's our 10W3 TG enclosure. This has got a sloping back, so again, will go great behind a lot of seat applications. To give you an idea of the size, I used the reference measuring tool. Now, if the top of it is actually less than the height of an iPhone.
That's black, that's blue.
So less than the height of an iPhone. And if you take it down the bottom, it's a little bit more than the height of an iPhone. The rectangular design that we have of this, which doesn't have a sloping back, is dead flat. That is pretty much the height of an iPhone all the way around. So if an iPhone will go,
yes,
the enclosure will fit.
Wow.
Pretty cool.
And yet, this looks like the sort of thing that would have been advertised for going behind the seat backs of trucks in the USA.
Yep.
And of course, in boots where you wouldn't have thought of having the space. And what sort of output are we looking at from this sort of thing? This is obviously a sealed enclosure.
We're on the output thing, more than you're going to need.
Yes.
Again, as a reference point, I did mention the W6, but the current W3 lineup from JL Audio, the W3 drivers are a traditional subwoofer design. They've been legendary out there in the industry in terms of their performance and output. The TW3s, are you ready? They have more output than the W3s in equivalent size, which is an incredible jump in performance and technology, and that's just evolution of design.
Yes.
Lucio and the team at JL Audio, their engineering department, they've come up with a real winner here.
But this has always been something about JL Audio.
Yeah.
I can't tell you, I do remember many years back doing a review, and it was at the time when all JL Audio subwoofers were only made with not cast chassis, with pressed steel chassis. And yet they were really quite expensive versus other pressed steel chassis woofers. Because of the research and development, you kind of have to pay for the excellence, and that is one big thing about JL, is the sheer amount of research and development is wonderful. And I've been reviewing home speakers for the longest time, talking to many kinds of speaker designers and lots of different speaker companies. One thing I can tell you is that with any really good audio company, what you need is something I call, it's a special kind of goose. It's the one that lays the golden eggs, and JL Audio certainly, well, I think we've got a team of them, but with one illustriously. So yeah, obviously impressed. We'll be checking these things out on their own merits too, though. But in the meanwhile, that's Adam Rayner and Mr. Chris Bennett at JL Audio HQ in the UK, looking at the compact and rugged shallow mounting TW3. Thank you very, very much indeed, Chris.
Thank you, Ed.
Cheers.